So now that we know our orientations and we feel all comfortable that way, we're going to start flying in an orientation box. So we're going to you can draw a line in the sand or snow if you like, but I'll just use this table as my box. So I'm going to try to keep it just outside the box that is the table, and stay in the tail in orientation while I do that. So we're going to arm it by holding the left stick at 0 throttle and right rudder full. Okay, check our control surfaces. There we go. Okay, going to bring it to a comfortable height outside ground effect. Okay, and now I'm going to walk it through the box. So we're going to translate left. Go forward. Translate right. We're going to come back. You may have to use a little bit of yaw or rudder to make sure that it stays straight as you're going back and forth, or as you're translating rather. We're just going to get into a nice little rhythm, kind of floating around this box shape. You also want to make sure that you don't always go clockwise or counterclockwise, just so you don't get in the habit of one or the other. If you feel uncomfortable in any particular orientation or any particular direction, that's what you should practice the most. So we're just going to kind of buzz around this little box, nice and comfortable in our default tail in. The reason why we use tail in as the default is because all of the controls match the transmitter. When I move the stick left, the craft goes left. When I move the stick right, it goes right. Everything is one-to-one. As you start rotating orientations, those will change. As your nose in, right is left and left is right. So we want to get comfortable here. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and bring it back. Pushing through that ground effect as we get close. And there you go, that is a tail-in box. Okay, the next maneuver is to just do the box in the other 3 orientations. So we've done tail in, now it's time for nose in. Gonna arm it. Check the control surfaces. In case you haven't noticed, I do this every single flight, as you want to be certain that the control surfaces are working properly before it's airborne. Okay, so we're going to get her out of ground effect. And we're going to turn it around into nose in. And then just walk through that box. Nice and gentle. You can tell how much more comfortable I am in tail in, as it was a lot cleaner with tail in. Okay, we want to make sure, again, don't always go clockwise or counterclockwise. Get used to one direction, then mix it up. Now I'm standing intentionally a little bit close for filming. When you're doing this yourself, you may want to stand a little further back. Those carbon blades are quite sharp and they can definitely do some damage, so you want to avoid them at all costs. Okay. So once we feel comfortable there, we're going to bring it back into tail in. And then we're going to go ahead and set it down. go. The ground effect can sometimes be even trickier when you're on a table, as if one rotor is off the table, it will be outside ground effect, whereas the rotors above the table will be in ground effect. And that can sometimes give you a little bit of instability or kind of twitchy behavior as you land. Okay, now we've done tail in and nose in box. Now we're going to do right. I'm going to arm it, check the control surfaces as usual. I do recommend starting with tail in. However, if you, the other three don't have to happen in any particular order. If you're more comfortable with one, maybe start there. It's really up to you. Okay, so we got her up out of ground effect. Now I'm going to move into my right orientation. And I'm going to start going through my box. It can actually be a little more challenging to do this slowly, and it's more confidence inspiring, so I recommend doing it slowly and in relatively light wind like we have today. The switchblade can definitely handle its own in wind, but as you're learning, everything's easier in a calm day. Okay, now I'm going to reverse the box. Very small stick inputs, always small and smooth. We're going to bring it back into tail in, and then we're going to bring it down here. Okay. Okay, now for the final box orientation, which is going to be our left side. We're going to arm it and check our control surfaces. Then get ourselves launched and out of ground effect. Okay, now that we're there, get stable and comfortable, and rotate to the left side. And just like before, start working through our box. It can be handy to sometimes flip sideways just so you can see that voltage buzzer, see if there's any red lights flashing. Should mention that vertical antenna on the payload deck is part of the telemetry transmitter, which is used for tuning, or I use it for tuning anyway. We're just going to walk through that box just like before. Got a little bit of wind picking up, but nothing too much. Okay, now I'm going to go the other direction. If you get going too fast, try to slow it down. Make sure you're always flying the helicopter. You never want the helicopter to fly you. Okay, I'm going to bring it back down now, returning to tail end position. And then we're going to go ahead and bring it down.